Okay, so I think the global pandemic, of course, has affected every brand when it comes to, let's say, losses. But particularly for alcohol industry, this is one major. This is a peak time for us summers, especially for beer, considering we are in the beer category. April, May is around 20 to 30% of our yearly sales, and since the lockdown, we nearly saw zero sales during those months, which kind of affected us drastically. And of course, it affects the health of the company, and which in turn affects how we spend, how we have our marketing spends. So yeah, I think that has been a major challenge and a major problem for us, considering that April and May are the major months for us, and we couldn't really do a lot of business during those months. Yeah, so I think there are three major factors which we look at when sponsoring an event. One, it has to be how relevant it is to the brand. Uh, we had recently done India Hog Rally with Harley Davidson in Taj, I think in 2019. And why an event like that makes a lot of sense for us is because it kind of caters to the right audience. Given that we are in the craft beer industry, it is a very niche market at the moment. And unless we know that an ROI is going to be effective, it doesn't really make sense for any of the brands to kind of, sponsor an activity which is not relevant to the brand. So the TG which Harley Davidson caters to is pretty much the similar TG to what Simba as a beer kind of caters to. So that is one. Second is, of course, the right market segment. And third is, I think, the measurement of impact when it comes to sponsoring a brand or an event. So yeah, these are primary factors which we look at when sponsoring a brand. Is there a shift in the strategy? Of course, there is going to be a shift now that how brands are going to be approaching us with a very large audience. We still need to make sure that we are relevant to the audience which we are kind of catering to. So it needs to kind of it's going to shift in a way that budgets are going to go down, marketing spends are going to be reduced. Secondly, I think it's going to be mostly about how relevant the activity is to the brand, which is sponsoring an event or an activity otherwise. Yeah, I think virtual events are going to be an effective sponsorship opportunity, given the situation that now there are hardly any events which are happening on ground. But one major thing I think which needs to be kept in mind when it comes to events after this is that they need to kind of cater to the right audience, which I've kind of mentioned a lot of times. I think it also needs to be a factor because for a brand like Simba, we could have a lot of trials on ground physically. But here the situation is going to change given that everybody's going to be viewing these events, at the comfort of their home, and it will be difficult for them to kind of reach out to the product. But I think it needs to evolve into a way where it is innovative enough for the customer and the viewer to get the idea of what the brand ethos is. So that I think is going to be one major problem which needs to be solved. But yeah, I don't see anything else happening besides virtual events for at least a couple of months for now. So, one advice I'd like to give the agencies who kind of seek for sponsorship, I think it's very, very important for you to understand where the brand comes from, what kind of audience they cater to, and if it will make sense for them. Over the past couple of years, we've had a lot of options and opportunities from different brands trying to reach out to us for events which kind of did not make sense for us as a brand. So when it comes to seeking sponsorship for an event, it is highly, highly important that the event and the brand you are seeking sponsorship from kind of resonate each other's identity. I would say that their personality is pretty much the same, so that the brand also ensures that they do enough, that they reach out to the right audience. So, to put it shortly, I would say that you need to kind of gel or vibe with the brand. That's very important. Unless if it is not relevant to the brand to reach out to an audience which is not going to consume the product later, it doesn't really make sense for you to reach out. So reach out only when you think it's relevant for a brand. That is one major advice for everyone. Because one, that Simba as a brand has, we are a homegrown brand ourselves. We come out from Chhattisgarh, and we've been kind of focusing a lot on the music industry because we want to kind of bring in upcoming artists and give them an opportunity and provide them a platform. Music has been very relevant for us because it's easy for us to kind of target down the audience we're trying to reach out to. Similarly with fashion, we've been a very niche brand since the very beginning, and we've been trying to kind of be involved in the art space. And fashion has been quite effective for us. We recently partnered with Lakme Fashion Week for the past 3 editions or so, and it gives us a very good outreach, and we also reach out to the right audience, which is always, I think, the most important factor when keeping this in mind. These have been a couple of properties we've done. In fact, we have our own property called Simba Pro, where we kind of have a lot of artists from different backgrounds with different genres in music, who we've given them an opportunity to kind of come up and perform and reach out to as big as an audience as possible.